What's up, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers third-party review, and we are reviewing not just the third party, but the third train. The third member of the Moon Studios Raiden set. This is their Iron Arm, which is a funny name considering he turns into a pair of pants. But, I mean, more on that sometime in the future. But, yeah. This dude is... So, the first two figures we reviewed, they were very much kind of a similar sort of figure. They had similar transformations, they had similar robot modes, they had similar schema according to how they were put together and how they acted and operated. And this guy is just very, very different. He is bigger and chunkier, and these pegs did not go home. There we go. That's better. But yeah, he's a good-looking figure, decked out mostly in this dark gray with some really bright, vivid orange, highlighting that orange has got this kind of metallic-y look to it. Everything on it looks or feels painted, which is good for a lot of it, though, like, it's not perfect. You can see there's this, like this is where they cut the sprues off and then painted over it, and those sprue cuttings are not pretty. But all in all, it's a pretty good looking figure. Again, I'm not super familiar with how the Trainbots looked in Japanese animation, so I can't tell you how show accurate this looks, but I will tell you that it's a very involved transformation compared to his other teammates so far. There he is next to Transform Element, Optimus Prime. You can see he's a little bit bigger. He's definitely the biggest member of the team. I don't have all three members of the team now. I gave them back just the other day before I got this guy on loan. So, but yeah, in terms of accessories, he comes with his small pistol here with some black paint everywhere, and then this little orange paint app on it. Again, like all the other ones that we've got so far, it goes into a tab on his palm, curl the fingers around, and now he is holding a gun. And he's ready to go shoot something. He also comes with a couple big gun segments. Here's a big gun. Ooh. Here's a big gun segment here, all in black with some silver accents on it. And that's got a little peg on here. The only peg holes that I find on this guy are on his forearm, so I guess maybe you're supposed to fit this on his forearm. And then he comes with another big old gun. Again, all in black, but with this little orange detail here. Good sculpting on it. And that just has, once more, the single peg on it. Well, it's actually got several pegs that flip out. There's a big one there, so he could hold this in his hand because it's got that slot in there. And it's got a little peg up front. Then it has a big peg there, but that's for something else, I'm sure. But, yeah, you can also peg this one on his other arm if you don't want to put it in his hand, which I don't really want to. And then he could be like some sort of like train version of Ironhide or whatnot. Just for chuckles and grins, I am going to put this in his hand just to see how it looks. Oh, that's upside down. Yeah, that's a big gun that he's just casually holding. That's pretty dope, actually. I'm not gonna lie. But alrighty. That's it for his accessories. Of course, his other accessory comes with, which it's in the other room. But it's the same trailer hitches. It's the same hitches that we saw on the previous two trains. And so they don't go anywhere on this mode anyhow. So let's get into his articulation. So his head is on a ball joint. You can look up and down a bit. He can turn his head side to side. His head is on, there's a transformation joint in here, which makes this wobble back and forth a bit. Which is not really bad, but it's not like amazing. Of course, it rotates just freely. His arms are a little bit weird. So you've got your rotational joint here, which that one's getting squeaky enough that I am just not going to mess with that. I've had issues with that in the past. And then it's on, like, there's a hinge right here that raises that up. Then there's a hinge right here that raises that up. So between the two, his arm goes all the way up. He's got a joint here, but that's really just for transformation. But, I mean, let's not lie. You can use that for, like, a double jointed elbow if you want. And it doesn't even look bad. He's got a bicep swivel right below that first joint. Of course, this other elbow that I mentioned already. Hand is just like the other figures that we've seen so far, so rotation at the wrist, thumb is on a ball joint and a hinge, and then fingers are on little ball joints that don't really do anything, and then a hinge mid-finger. So, same as we've already seen. He's got a waist joint. He's got these skirt armors that will get out of the way. I've got skirt armors that I've got pegs that I didn't fold away. And then his legs. So his legs are really, really, really stiff. But they'll go that far forward. They'll go that far back. And then here's the one that I'm not sure if I'm even going to be able to do this, which is they'll go out for about 90% of a Van Damme. That is a really stiff joint. Now, it is made functional in this mode, largely due to these little clips in his crotch section that reach out and clip into each other. When he turns into a pair of pants, those clips don't touch each other, so I'm not sure how that's supposed to work yet. The guy who's loaning them to me does technically have enough train parts that I could put together the lower half of a giant robot. But then I could find out for myself how it's supposed to work out. But I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to him about that later. Of course, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I don't do any of the combination stuff until we get everything ready to combine. So, single joint knee for over 90 degrees of bend, so that's nice. Thigh swivel there. And then he doesn't have an ankle rotation so much as he's got a toe rotation. Toe's actually got a fair amount of rotation and whatnot. And even what you could consider a little bit of tilt. So, posability on this guy is not bad. Keep in mind, one of the things that you'll find is that the hips are stiff enough that it will make it a little bit of a chore to pose his legs. And also, there's a lot of paneling sections in here. And then as you manipulate these, they're going to get loose and start wobbling about. So just keep that in mind as you are posing this character. But it's a handsome looking figure And yeah, it's not bad at all. So let's get this guy transformed up. So first of all, I will preface this by saying that the transformation on this guy is not as pleasant as the other two guys, but it's not like Fans Toys level of obnoxiousness either. So, but anyhow, let's start with the legs. So we want to take the legs and straighten them up. Rotate them out like so. Take his crotch plate and pull that up so that it disconnects that from there. And then actually his legs aren't going to work first, are they? I guess we're going to start with his arms. Because as I'm sitting here going through the logistics in my head of transforming his legs first, that's not going to work out. So let's get this panel open here. Thumb is going to fold in. Fingers curl up. Drop that guy right in there. Actually, I'm going to rotate this around first. Close that back up. And the same for the other side. Thumb in, fingers curled up. Rotate. Close that back down. His arms are going to fold up on themselves. There's a tab here and a slot here. And a tab and a slot. Same on the other side. And then we're going to take these and we're going to put his arms up. Straight up here, there's a hinge right inside the chest here, closest to the head. Now we're going to go to the sides here. We're going to open up these panels here. They're on like a little double hinge, and you want to make sure that they come out flat. Does that make sense? Instead of bringing them out like this, you want to bring them out like that. And the same for the other side. This section here is going to split. It's going to split, and then it's just going to kind of just hang out. We can actually do some work on this. Pull these out here. And then fold these out and fold these out. And these are going to rotate like so, but they're not even close to their final position yet. But we can, do some work on them for now. Whether you do the work now or later, doesn't really matter. So we'll just do it now. We'll get all the easy stuff out of the way. That's easy stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I'm talking this up like it's an intimidating transformation. It's really not that bad. It's just not as fun as the other ones. So this panel here, you're going to fold this out, but you notice this little, oh shoot. Yeah. So this panel here, you're going to fold this out, but you'll notice this little dovetail here. You're going to split that dovetail. And then split this whole panel in two. And then you'll watch, this panel is going to come out like so. And we're going to do this for the other side as well. The same sort of situation. Pull that peg out. Split these two in half. Rend them in twain. and get that just wide open. And now this is going to allow us to, we want to bring this panel up so that we can slide this whole thing down and fold this out of the way. And we need to get both of these folded out of the way. Even though it's a little bit obnoxious at this point, do the same with this one. Find a way to fold it out of the way. Because once it's folded out of the way, then you can take the head and rotate it sideways like so. And then we're going to put these back up. Now we're going to disconnect these crotchal sections. And you kind of want to do a little bit of a wiggle to get those clips apart. And they just come apart. There's a tab right here. Without moving this hip joint, you want to come out on this half of the crotch section and bring it around on that. And this tab is going to go into this slot right here. And then when it does, there's little, no way to get this. There's too much shadow here. I really need to get myself a ring light. But there are little slots on the inside of these half panels that'll go on to these big tabs right here. So I'll bring that up. Wiggle that into place. Make sure that's properly dropped down. And now what you want to do is you want to get these little slots into place. And then there's little slots right here on the end of these black half panels that are going to go into tabs on the end of this leg right here. And that's 1, and that's 2. And that's important because that's going to help keep all of this solidly together. So we're going to do that real quickly for the other side. Then we're going to get back to doing the legs, I guess. So make sure all this is open. There's this whole collection of tabs and panels in here that are all on all sorts of little hinges and whatnot. I want to make sure that those are all flat and descended. Bring this up. Wiggle it into that space. Send that tab home. It doesn't clip in or anything like that, but it's very much a homing tab. Peg this into that tab there. That is more of a clipping tab. Alrighty, is it looking like a train yet? No? Okay. Well, we'll get there. So, this guy here is on this like weird like collection of joints. Like you can see here, there's a joint. There's a joint. There's a joint. Here, that's a rotation. There's a joint here. There's a joint here. There's a pivot here. And so basically what you want to do is you want to get this to come around on all of this rotation crap. And then this, let me actually get this back out of the way because I do want to show you this. So you've got this pivot, let me get this centered. You've got this pivot here and this pivot up here. You want to pivot this You want to basically pivot this down, and then you're going to have to pivot this around to work. Gosh, that's loud. All right, let's see if we can take a look at this. And of course we can't. That is just unhelpful. This toy keeps everything close to its chest. There's a pretty good view of it right there. So you want to get this hinge moved up like so, and then get this hinge in a point where you can drop this down. But before we do that, we want to get all this bull honky into a position where this tab here tucks into a slot on the underside of this little guy right here. So boom and boom. Except as I look at this, that's not going to work because this little elbow part sticks out, so I need to like... Of course, the instructions were utterly useless on this matter. So rotate it at that hinge. Rotate it at this hinge. Alright, now that hinge is going in instead of going out. Yes, yes, that works well. Boom. And just for convenience, I'm going to go through all that crap with the other side as well. By the way, there are 2 tabs in here that this module is kind of peg into as well. Now that I've actually explained it, that made it a lot easier to get that second one into position. And now that I know what I want to do to get this elbow, instead of going out like that, to rotate around so it's going in like that, and then just knowing that I got to get all this other stuff manipulated around, that makes that a little bit easier too. As they say, you learn by teaching. Let's get that pegged in real quick. And then get that pegged into that. Alright, so now we're in about the same position for both sides of these. So now let's get to work on the actual end of what used to be the leg and is now the front and the back of the train. So we're going to crack this bad boy open here. This is going to come out, flip around, and just kind of stand ready. You're going to open that up, you're going to open that up, you're going to open that up. When you pull these panels out, do not just pull them out, you need to pull them up, because there's little tabs along here. You need to pull this up, and then flip it out. And then these are going to flip around. Well, let me get this kind of going out, and then flip it around. Get this kind of going out. Flip that around. And now you want to get this toe to come in, so you want to open up this toe, fold it in on itself, and then this is going to come up and around, and now these panels are going to do a dance around each other. Where this one's going to come out like so, and this one's going to come around like so, and they're going to just do the do-si-do, like so. this guy just kind of sits in here. One thing that the instructions will not tell you is that you need to fold up this combiner peg a bit for both the robot mode and the train mode. But it comes to you like it's ready to be combined, so you have to like actively fold this in, and that is a very tough joint, which is good when you have a big robot, but it's hard when you've only got like this much leverage on it. Fun fact, also the instructions don't tell you about these little crotch tabs here. You heard it here first. Alright, so now that these are all flipped around and whatnot, we'll take this little end here, flip that around. Take this little end here, flip that around. Now we can start folding this in. So you're going to fold this in. That tab is going to fit into that slot right in here. Just get that in the position and push those pegs in. And you've got a tab and a slot here. So flip this up, push those pegs into position. That tab will just kind of go home. And then you want to take this guy, fold him up. You've got little tabs along here and little slots in here. And then this is going to fold up. Clip that into place there. And then these are going to come around. And you want to just like move one of them into position and then move this other one in on top of it. This is, by the way, where that hitch goes, which given how stiff the hitch was on both of the other train guys, I personally am not going to be putting that on, putting that on or taking it off. I'm gonna let the guy who owns this toy do that. These train wheels are stupid tight. This is definitely a toy that you need to have a spudger handy. Just get it up underneath that panel and weasel it out. Because I don't feel like pulling on the train wheels themselves is necessarily the best course of action. This guy is just going to come and swing down over this little tab here. And on the other side. And moving down the train, let's deal with all of this real quickly. So, what you want to do is, you want to take these sections here, slide them up, like so. This will make it so that you can, so there's an eccentric joint here where it's got a joint that comes in on the one end, and then it's on this little rotation thing that has a joint in the middle of this circular mount here. So you basically want to take and pull on it and kind of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle to get it to like hinge up and around on that eccentric joint. And we'll do it for the other side just to see if you catch it this time. So you've got, basically this is shaped like a little plate with a peg in the center going off this way, and then a peg off center going this way. And so as you rotate this around both of these axes, you can get that to move down into a different position. And so with that done, you can pull this guy out here and wiggle it around. You've got like a little double joint here where this is going to come out, and it's almost like an eccentric joint again, except you're rotating it around this little module here. And these guys are going to go back into their positions. So you'll see now this is in position, and then there's a little orange tab. Let's see if we can see it better on this side. Orange tab. There's an orange tab in here. Somewhere in there. That's going to fit into a slot that I promise you can't even see, because I can't even see it. And then there's a peg here that's going to go in, and it squeaks. And let's do the same with the other side real quickly. So let me get this crotch section out of the way. Fold these up, fold that up. Eccentric joint, ahoy! And ahoy! And then unpeg this from there and bring this out on its own. Eccentric joint, double hinge, whatever you want to call it. Plug that into place. All right, so the stuff we did for this leg, we're now going to do for this leg. And it's basically all the same stuff. In fact, I think it may, in fact, be the same sculpt. Which makes things a little bit convenient when you already know what you're doing. Bring that around. Rotate this doodad. Bring that around. Rotate. Rotate. Time to do the do-si-do with the toe. The to-si-do. I like that, to-si-do. It's almost like Thew Adams level of awful forced puns. I am not, by the way, shitting on Thew. I subscribe to him and I love him. But my God, does that man deliver some incredibly wonderful, awful puns. Alrighty, so now let's get this all stitched back together. Bring this up and peg it in. Bring this up and peg it in. Make sure these go in. And then stay pegged in. Tab that into place. Plug that into place. Bring this around. Bring this around. There we go. Pry these wheels open. Again, like the other ones, like the other train figures, there is... Oh, come on. There is this little tab thing that you would flip out to keep these wheels in place. But trust me, these wheels stay in place. I'm not the least bit concerned about them coming out of alignment. So we're just going to finagle this around that tab. Oh yeah, there's little tabs in there too. Finagle this around that tab. And last but not least, we're going to take these guys here. These are the skirt armors. You can pull these little tabs out. And then you want to kind of get it so that they go like so. There's going to be some tabs in here that you're mostly going to have to feel out and not actually see. And then there's also, and I'll show you these ones because you can see them, tabs here that are going to go into slots on the underside of those skirt armors. Just clean this up a little bit, make sure the tabs are being held on, and boom, there is. That's a train. That is quite a train. And it's a pretty solid looking train. This is much longer than the other trains. Again, I don't have any of the other ones in comparison. I'll show. As I continue with this series, I will eventually get around to showing comparisons of both robot modes and alt modes. But it's pretty decent. There are some gappy bits up here. But, I mean, it's really not bad. I don't know which side of this is supposed to be the front. They are identical. But yeah, train. And it rolls. I don't have any track to put this on, because of course it doesn't come with any track. I understand it is compatible with Duplo track. So if you have Duplo track, or if you have kids and you might find yourself having Duplo track, then you can definitely run your trains on some Duplo track. I'm just trying to move this out, see if I can slot that into position and peg this. It doesn't want to peg into multiple pegs at once. But you can peg it on top. And have a giant cannon on your train. Peg this on top of that. So it'd be like, yo dog, I heard you like cannons. And put cannons on your cannons. And there's even peg holes here where you can put, well, that's a screw hole, but it looks like it's a 5mm screw hole. That's definitely just a peg hole. You can put cannons on the side of your cannons, and you have lots of stuff. So, but yes, there is Iron Arm, and this guy is really impressive. His transformation is involved, but it's not like awful. Robot mode looks great. Alt mode looks great. It comes to you in pants mode, so I can tell you that the pants mode looks great. Again, I'll do that when we get everything ready for combination. But yeah, I mean, at this point, recommendation doesn't matter. If you're getting the train guys, then you're still in on it. And I certainly hope that this figure won't dissuade you from continuing to collect this line. If you're not in the train line, but go look up some pictures on the internet. See how the team looks as a unit, both individually in train mode, individually in robot mode, and individually and combined together in ride mode. It looks pretty sweet. But that's pretty much all I've got for it. I know this was kind of a long one, so again, huge thank you to everyone who is still watching all the way through to this point. You are amazing. Go ahead and you know, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Every little bit helps. I am gonna feel a little bit proud of myself when I hit 1,000 subscribers, which I'm just like 14 away from right now. So share it with somebody. Maybe they might like it. I don't know. But thanks everybody for watching. Your viewership is really all I need. So thank you. And everybody stay awesome. Be good to each other. See ya.